This is Ready Set Reiki, a podcast about Reiki, the universal energy life force, from the curious beginner to the seasoned master teacher, welcoming all systems, all lineages, and all levels. Reiki is a journey and not a destination. And on this Ready Set Reiki journey, we refer to ourselves as guides rather than hosts, as we too are traveling, supporting each other, and learning on this Reiki journey as well. And with that said, I am your guide, Tracy C. Wright. And joining me on my journey today is Simon Tansley. Now, he was attuned in Azuri Reiki 1 and 2 on the weekend of the 28th and 29th of October, 1989, by an independent Reiki master, Rehiho, who also introduced him to a deck of tarot cards, which he likes so much that he has been working with them ever since, and other decks. He liked the weekend Reiki course so much that he repeated it 6 weeks later in 2000. And after a year apprenticeship with a Reiki master, he was attuned as a Reiki master himself. He can be contacted on Facebook and is a tarot reader. And he does the free card of the day every day. Welcome, Simon, to Ready Set Reiki.
Thank you.
All right, well, let's begin our journey together. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, there's two ways to tell you about myself. There's a life story that's 60 odd years long, or there's the shortened version, which is I'm here 63 years along my journey, still enjoying Reiki.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. So, lover of Reiki, out there being of service. When did Reiki come into your life? Did you find it or did it find you?
There's no chance I found it. It found me. Yeah. Glastonbury, which I'm sure you've heard of. A holiday in Glastonbury that became something more than a holiday. With a girlfriend, I met up. We met up with some spiritual people, and one of those people became my Reiki master, my original Reiki master, Mari.
Mari, beautiful. And that was in October of 1989, right?
Yeah, that's a while ago.
Beautiful, beautiful. So as you have been out navigating through this wonderful landscape of Reiki, what has been some of the biggest challenges or struggles you have faced in this journey?
Just the usual obstacles of life itself, learning how to deal with my own issues, and learning to have confidence to interact with other people, I think. Yeah.
Right.
When I first got into this sort of stuff, I couldn't say hello to people. I couldn't speak my name to people. I was that shy.
Oh.
And along the line, I've worked as a life model, which isn't a shy job. So I've come some way along the way.
Right. And on Facebook as well, right? Doing your card of the day. So going from not saying hello to sharing your wonderful gift with the world.
Thank you. Yeah.
Wonderful. So since 1989, you have been out here on this journey. What is a common misconception about Reiki?
That it can heal anybody. I'm not a healer. I'm a channel. Yeah.
Right.
And so for me, the hardest bit is to try not to explain it too much and just let people experience it and just get my head out of the way.
Right. Beautiful. So as you are out on your own healing journey, what is something you wish your younger self knew about Reiki?
That it was there. It would have been wonderful if this sort of thing and the psychic stuff, all this sort of spiritual stuff, it would have been great if we could have been taught it at school or shown it at school.
Right.
I had some sort of psychic gift, but as far as I'm concerned, it just meant I was bonkers rather than I had something that nobody else had got. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Especially when you're little like that and you have these abilities and see things and know things. it's often difficult for other children to understand that
Yeah,
don't have
yeah,
that particular
yeah,
gift, and adults as well. They always try to, no, that's just your imagination,
yeah.
and kind of quiet that.
Or,
Yes.
or being accused, people who don't me accusing me of being a con artist.
Right, right, right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So when it's time for you to get an energetic tune up, or maybe when you, seek out that Reiki teacher, what are some qualities you look for in a Reiki practitioner or Reiki teacher?
Someone I feel comfortable with. It's just a that I mean, there's so many people out there that you just have to feel right with someone. And for it to work as well, because I've met teachers where we've talked about maybe getting attuned to whatever, and circumstances, as you know, get in the way, and it
Mm,
hasn't happened at the time, but I got here eventually.
right. It's amazing how the energy comes into play if it's not meant to be. Those little
Yeah, yeah,
obstacles come in the way that you just think are just little annoyances, but they're actually the energy guiding you in a different direction. So
yeah, yeah,
it's very good.
yeah.
So, what advice would you give someone who's just entering this profession of Reiki, and even with your psychic ability card reading as well? You can offer some advice for those of our listeners that are into tarot.
Um, you just have to trust yourself, basically. One of the best things I discovered, and I think it came with my first tarot deck, the little book that came with it, said, read the book. If you don't agree with the book, throw the book away.
I love that. Sometimes you get caught up in the training. I was trained in tarot, and it was a certain way to do it. And one of my friends, we got together, and she's like, I'm going to do a reading. And it wasn't like any other spread I had ever seen. I'm like, what are you doing? And she
Yeah,
said, my spirit guides told me to set the cards out like this. Well, it was a reflection of my mind, where it's the multiple tabs open, right? So there were
yeah,
cards everywhere, which made sense. And then
yeah,
it was in that moment that I needed to reshift and rechange, and like, well, maybe I shouldn't go by this and go and try and more intuitively with it. And so I don't even look at the book anymore. It just
yeah,
goes with what the energy is. And so I always tell people you need to cultivate that relationship with the energy and get to know the language of the cards, how they
yeah,
speak to you.
yeah, definitely. I'll
Yeah.
play with cards every day. If there's someone here, that's great. It's an exchange. If
Yeah.
there isn't, I just call it practice. But actually,
Hmm.
I'm just tapping into that energy because I love the feel of it.
Wonderful. So,
And you can't see me, but my hands are actually, I'm sitting here with my hands on my heart,
aw,
as I always am, because Reiki's always there.
always there. Beautiful.
One of the things that surprises me when I go and see people that have attuned to Reiki and said, when did you last use Reiki? And they say, well, I haven't since I was attuned. And you think, your hands are there. What are you doing?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think that people, and that could be another misconception. They think once they're attuned, that's it. They don't have to
Yeah,
do anything else.
yeah,
They don't have to do the work. They don't have to practice. And I tell it like you're courting the energy, you're dating it, right? So you want to
yeah,
get to know
yeah,
it, and do yourself Reiki. And that's how other things begin to grow, other abilities. Maybe it'll open that third eye, right? Or,
yeah, yeah,
maybe have more vivid dreams on it. But it's just a matter of just working with it, and beyond, a teacher touching you or
yeah.
giving you that placement. So you have to do the work.
Yes, definitely. It opens up the conversation as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Very
When
good.
people see I'm sitting on the bus or whatever, and I'm sitting there with my hand on my heart, and people go, are you okay? Are you okay? Do you need anything? I'm
Mm-hmm.
going, yeah, I'm buzzing. I'm fine. This is what's
Very good.
going on. And it just
That's what's going
starts,
on.
spreads it about.
Wonderful. So, what books do you recommend?
What books do I recommend? I used to read a lot of spiritual books, but I read other sorts of books now. I've so I know there's a lot I haven't read and a lot I haven't learned, but I just felt like I wanted to just experience it rather than read it. And when I go and hear people talk about Reiki, talking about Reiki is not Reiki.
Mm.
Experiencing Reiki is Reiki. Yeah. I was going to say something else there and it's gone, but it'll come.
Well, it might come back towards the end,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we'll have a chance for you to
Oh,
share if it
yes.
comes
There's
back.
only, there's only one book that I've come across that I would recommend that's Reiki. I'm sure there's others, but the one that I really enjoyed was Essential Reiki by Diane Stein.
Very good. Very good. That's a very good
But
book.
she's a she's a maverick Reiki person herself, so that's probably why I like her.
Yes, very good. So, what other services do you offer? Do you offer classes, events, trainings?
Occasionally I'll run a Reiki class. So occasionally if enough people I can get enough people together, but I don't I don't push it. I'm not a persuader. And if the space becomes available and the people are interested, then that happens. It's the same with the tarot. If people want to learn, I can't teach them, but I'll point them to certain decks or whatever, and I'll point them to my Facebook page so they can see what the sort of thing that I do. And the one other thing that I've been sort of, let's use the word pushed, but I don't mean into the negative way, but I've been pushed into doing what I call psychic feng shui, which is
Ooh, that sounds interesting. Yeah.
which is basically going around balancing out the energies in people's houses, getting people in tune with their own energies, that sort of thing. It's
Nice.
not, I've read a lot of feng shui and I know quite a bit about it, but I
Yes.
wouldn't, I wouldn't call myself anything to do with the feng shui
Yeah.
in terms of all that technical stuff. I just do the psychic side.
Right. How wonderful. What a wonderful service to offer for people in their home. Because they don't
Yeah,
think of that, that the blockages, as Reiki masters, or practitioners, you think of the blockages in the body, but what about the home, right?
yeah, 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 definitely.
Yeah, very good. So where can we find you? Are you available online, in person? How does someone get in contact with you if they would like a session or service from you?
The best way is through the Facebook page, which is Simon Tansley Tarot Reader. I presume it's got one of those code things to go with it, but I can never remember all that sort of stuff.
Well, I'm sure I found you so they can find you,
Yeah,
right?
I'm the bald-headed guy with a big beard.
And I'll surely put the link in the show notes too. So they'll have an opportunity to
Fantastic.
click on that as well.
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right. All right, Simon, this ends the first part of our journey together, and I'm going to continue being your guide through the next questions here. These are social media questions that are sent in by listeners or Reiki students. So here we go. Number 1. Do you think a year of apprenticeship with a Reiki master assisted you in becoming a better Reiki master teacher?
For me personally, yes, because it gave me the confidence observing how somebody else did it, being able to be involved without being, having to wear the badge. I'm the Reiki teacher, I'm the Reiki master, whatever that means. Sometimes I call myself a Reiki mattress. I just have to relax and let the Reiki do it. To
That's
me, it's always about getting my head out the way.
Yeah, yeah. I think that would make a great book title, actually. I love that. I love that. My lineage, I had Azuri Rehiho as my first step in the direction of Reiki. And in that lineage, you had level 1, you had level 2, then you had the master, but it didn't make you a teacher. It only made you a master practitioner.
Yeah,
And then I
yeah,
spent an entire almost a year in an apprenticeship. So in
yeah,
a weird way, I don't want to call it a Reiki 4, but it was that extra time that we logged practice hours. I had to put together a presentation for a Reiki talk. I audited all of my master teachers' classes from in person and online, and really got to see how a class was structured, some
yeah,
questions that students would ask, what the students really liked, if they liked like even small things like, wow, they liked having an offering of a bottle of water, right? Some things you wouldn't even
Right.
think about,
Yeah.
pillows or something to make that one student comfortable. So
Yeah.
it was an interesting journey to show a different way versus some of the other systems out there. I love Holy Fire, but in Holy Fire, 3 days, that third day, you're a master teacher.
Right.
And I didn't have that. Now, the ICRT does offer now that extra if you choose to do it. There's
Yeah.
different programs that you can go through and learn the business aspect or take your time in a little 3-year-old program. But it's interesting that many practitioners and masters have different ways to get where they are in the journey. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, it was my choice. My master was quite happy to just attune me.
Ah,
But
okay.
I said, no, I want to make a commitment.
Sure, sure.
And
Yeah.
for
It really
myself.
depends on the other person. Like I
Yeah.
was like on like a fiery comet that I just whoosh, and could, just couldn't. I took up everything like a sponge. But then you have
Yeah.
some that need to take their time. They want to take a year, years, and that's fine. Everyone's on their different path,
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
different journey. Some walk fast through it and some want to just savor every moment of it. So, yeah, that's another
Yeah.
option for
There's
for students. Yeah.
there's so many different forms of Reiki out there. But as far as I was concerned, I'm happy with what I've got.
Beautiful.
And that suits me. In
Right.
fact, someone I met allegedly didn't like the symbols I'd been given and changed them. She told me after it had happened that I didn't like the symbols. I didn't relate to them, so I changed them. And I just thought wrong, and I just consciously changed them back again.
Well, here's the interesting thing. One of the, besides the intention of what you put out, there's consent. She didn't
Yeah,
have your
yeah,
consent.
she
So
didn't.
they wouldn't stick anyway. It
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
and say let's go down the road of if she asked your higher self would know you weren't ready for that. So
yeah,
they
yeah,
wouldn't stick to you
yeah.
anyway. So it's kind of like you need to ask for permission before
Yeah,
you just kind of come
definitely.
into someone's energy and decide, a tool, because those symbols are tools.
Yeah,
Those are in
yeah,
your energetic toolbox. It's like
yeah.
coming in and going through my toolbox and saying, well, I don't like this craftsman's screwdriver of yours. And they toss it away.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, it has sentimental value to it. One, because it was my grandfather's, right? And I've
yeah,
had it for how many decades?
yeah,
Who is that to come in and say that without
yeah,
saying, hey, this looks a little beat up. Do you want to get rid of it? No, actually, it's very sentimental to me. It means a lot to me. Same way if you were asked from the beginning, no, I'm
yeah,
good. Or,
yeah.
yeah, okay, I'm up for that. But that's what's interesting with that. You just give that situation Reiki, I guess.
When I was first attuned to Reiki with Mari, we weren't allowed to walk away with those symbols. They were on a piece of paper. We had to learn them,
Mm,
memorize them, and hand that paper back. And I'm not saying it's wrong that it's available everywhere, symbols on everything. I think
mhm.
that's great. I'm just intrigued in how these things are evolving.
Sure, sure,
Yeah. Bit
sure. I
like
mean,
Chinese whispers sometimes.
I've had guests on the show that they're very seasoned Reiki master teachers, and they have the symbols are there. They may not use them as much. There may
Yeah.
be a
Yeah.
particular symbol that resonates with them. I've had guests that have come on that have channeled the symbols and used their
Right.
own as that
Yeah.
master, which you can. So it's just intriguing to hear different stories.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
ICRT, Holy Fire, you take a test, the second level. You memorize your symbols. You go off at lunch. You practice. You draw, and you have that quiz,
Yeah.
and to show your master teacher here, and that helps deepen the relationship with
Yeah.
it. But then also too, can it stress somebody out that's like, oh my goodness, I can't remember this. I can't I can't get every detail of Hanshase Shonen, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. And that just comes with practice and time as
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
you have others, teachers that like, nope, go work with it, go out and, practice and cultivate that relationship. So, there's many, many different ways to do it. And
Yeah.
it's just a
Yeah.
matter of the intention and
Yeah.
consent. So, our second one, can you describe any daily spiritual practices that you incorporate into your daily life?
Well, it's hard to separate my daily life from my spiritual practice because it's my job basically.
Hmm.
So I'm working with people. If I can, I try and get a listen to some music and have an hour's Reiki first thing just to get me into a positive place, and then just see what the day brings after that. But most of what I'm doing is spiritual journey anyway, if whatever that means.
Right. Beautiful.
Personal journey.
Our last question, this is our third question, is what is your favorite deck?
I've been reflecting on this, and the fact is, it's impossible. I've had so many decks pass through my hands, and so many decks that haven't passed through my hands that I want. It's hard to put a finger on it. I did pick a couple of decks to show, but we haven't got the camera. But so I've got three decks in front of me that are significant. First one's the Elemental deck, which is my first deck, although it's my second copy of my first deck because I wore out the first deck. Couldn't read it anymore, worn it out so much. There's a deck called the Cosmic Tarot, and I can't remember who it's by, because I think it really gets to the meat of the readings, as it were. And I also like the Osho Zen Tarot, or the Zen Osho Tarot, because it opens up that other way of thinking about things, which is a bit like the Voyager Tarot as well, which I love because there's so much in it. I can spend days just looking at a card with a Voyager Tarot.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. What a wonderful resource to have for the cards. Not only one deck, but three, right? I usually have
Yeah.
like one that's my favorite, right? And then a
I've,
backup, but
I've
three.
got about, I've got about 120 decks at the moment.
Oh my goodness. I was, that's
Coming and
fabulous.
going. Yeah.
Right, right. Are you ever inspired to create your own deck?
I have once or twice, but it's never really gelled. I'm halfway
Mhm.
through a book,
Right.
writing a book, but it's been over 10 years now, and I'm halfway through it, so I'm not sure I'm
Right.
ever going to finish that, but
You never
we'll
know.
see. We'll see. Yeah. I've been
All
given
right.
plenty of time to do it. I just don't get around to do it.
Sure, sure. So that was our last question. And as we were talking, is there anything else that you would like to share, or maybe you forgot that you would like our listeners to know?
No, the only thing I'd like to say is I love your background. I love those feathers. Fantastic.
Thank
They
you so
really go
much.
well with what you're doing there. So,
Thank you. And they go all the way up beyond our little square that you
uh,
see here, and they're you can feel the texture of them. And I don't think I've ever told the story on the podcast. So, but the feathers here, I had moved from Pennsylvania to El Paso, and my husband had been here for a few years before. And this was prior to COVID. Then COVID happened, and I just couldn't get out here. So when I finally came out here, there's a thrift shop, and I was donating some things and also looking around because I had a whole house to decorate. And I walked in and I saw these two paintings, and I was like, open the door, 1, 2, 3, 4, turn. There they were. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And they're so large. And I said out loud, this is for my studio. I didn't have a studio yet. And I don't know where that came from. And I picked them up, and they were so big. This place used to be a former grocery store. So
wow.
I had the grocery cart. Now I'm from Pittsburgh. We call grocery carts buggies, but I had them in the grocery cart. It was so big, I had to check out right there and take them out to my car to go back in to shop.
Wow.
And so I put them on the wall here. And so I do yoga and I do the podcast. So that's the story of how I got these feathers. And
Wow.
my name of the business, my business is Feather Sister. So that worked out perfect.
Fantastic. Well,
Thank you.
the other thing I wanted to show you, but obviously I can't, is I've got a big furry polar bear, teddy bear.
Aw.
And when I was learning how to attune, I attuned him to be a Reiki master.
Oh,
So now
beautiful.
he's my Reiki master now.
Reiki master now. Wonderful. I love it. I love it. Always good to have the spirit of the animals with us as
Yeah.
for Reiki. Very good. All right. Well, Simon, this ends our journey together. And I just want to say thank you for joining me and taking time out of your busy day to be on Ready Set Reiki.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
All right. All right, my wonderful listeners. If you'd like your question featured on Ready Set Reiki, reach out to www.readysetreiki.com or check us out on social media. Also, check out Feather Sister Wellness that offers yoga trainings, and a variety of Reiki and Reiki trainings. I'm Tracy Seawright, and this has been Ready Set Reiki.